French President Emmanuel Macron has told world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly that's currently in session that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was right when he told the Russian President Vladimir Putin that it is not the time for war. Modi had met Putin last week on the sidelines of the 22nd meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. He told the Russian leader that today's era is not of war. He'd spoken to Putin several times over the phone regarding this issue. He'd underlined the importance of democracy, diplomacy and dialogue. I want to very quickly play out for you what the French president had to say. Then we'll connect with a colleague for more details.
Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, was right when he said the time is not for war. It is not for revenge against the West or for opposing the West against the East. It is the time for a collective time for our sovereign equal states to cope together with challenges we face. This is why there's an urgent need to develop a new contract between the North and the South, an effective contract which is respectful for food, for biodiversity, for education. It's no longer a time for bloc.
My colleague Abhishek Jha is with us this morning live to bring us a lot more context on this statement. Abhishek, good morning. Abhishek, how should our audiences understand the statement that's coming from Emmanuel Macron?
So clearly, Toya, there are like 2-3 aspects of this statement. First is that the recent meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin and the message that came out from that meeting was something that the world has listened to, and they have focused on that agenda. That why Prime Minister Modi said this to President Putin, that this is not the time of war. During the conversation, we also know that President Putin said that he too wants this whole thing, this whole conflict situation to end soon. But the other side, he talking about the Ukrainian side, he said that they are not willing to come on the negotiating table and they want to sort this out militarily, and they are apparently doing that, and they are not willing to come back on the dialogue table. So in that context, Prime Minister had said that he also said that आपको पहल करनी चाहिए या आपको पहल करनी होगी. So he said that Russia has to initiate something, because Russia, being the major power in that region, needs to initiate and take the other side into confidence, and probably this could be a way forward where both conflicting sides would be able to talk, sitting down on a table, and through diplomacy this situation could be sorted. This is the same sentiment that is now being echoed at United Nations General Assembly, where French President, while in his very remarks during his speech, which was mostly around this Ukraine crisis and its after impact, how it is impacting the world in terms of food crisis, in terms of other conflicts, fuel crisis, inflation, and many aspects of apparently the world could become a place very much divided into various blocks, and it might lead to another Cold War era. So in that all multiple concerns that French president tried to underline during his UNGA speech, he also tried to say that when Prime Minister Modi had said that this is not the time of war, he was very much right, and the world should sit and try to talk such differences and should not be going to war to claim their territory, or to think that they can do it very well and they can get away with it also. So there should be some mechanism where dialogue and diplomacy should be given a chance, and this whole war and division into multiple blocks should not be the order of the day.
Okay, Abhishek, stay with us because we have more news coming in regarding this exact story for our audiences. Now, this is a statement that Prime Minister Modi made to the Russian Premier on September 16th, and more reactions for it are still coming in. We just shared with you the French reaction. This is the US reaction. US Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has praised the Prime Minister. He said that the no time for war statement is of principle. Now, that's one reaction that's come in, remember, from a country that always wanted India to react much more strongly to announcements of the Russia-Ukraine war. This is Jake Sullivan. Again, he's the US NSA, the National Security Advisor, and he made these statements while he was addressing a press conference at the White House. He said that this statement of principle on behalf of what he believes is right and just is very much welcomed by the United States. Let's go back now to my colleague Abhishek, who was bringing us international updates. He was earlier telling us about the French reaction. Let's go with him now to understand more about the American reaction. Abhishek, just clarify for us. Prime Minister Modi's comments to Putin had taken place on September 16th. Why are these reactions coming in now? And also tell us, I know that the White House had said that Putin is possibly isolating from the international community now. What do they mean?
So clearly, see, when the whole United Nations General Assembly has begun, so clearly this was very much expected that this summit or this meeting of various leaders, where all of them will be speaking their mind out on the various important global issues. The Ukraine-Russia conflict, which has entered in its 7 month of conflict, will be the major concern of all the major power in the world, and this is how it is. It has been now when like we saw last night when French president also addressed this issue in his speech. Most of the time he was dedicating towards Ukraine-Russia conflict and its after impact. Jacques Sullivan, when he was also asked the same question, like in context of Prime Minister Modi's remark to his President Putin, he also said that this is exactly the sentiment that the world is trying to understand, that this is not the time of war, because the world as a collective power has other priorities to deal with. Like French president has underlined that we need to deal with the food crisis, we need to deal with the supply chain distribution, we also need to deal with the climate change. He also mentioned the flooding situation in Pakistan. So there are other priorities that the world should focus right on, and the war is the last thing should be the last thing on the table. And if there are conflict, if there are tension, if there are differences among the countries, those should be sorted out on a dialogue table. Not war can never be a solution, and war will never be a solution. This is the sentiment that the world power are not echoing, and this is what Prime Minister Modi has also said during a conversation with President Putin, that this is not the time of war. There are other priorities that the world should focus on. We have just come out of the pandemic when the world came together united, and that solidarity helped world to fight back with COVID. And now we are over with the COVID, but not its impact, its economic impact, its social impact. So the priority should be in that direction, where the whole development of human society and the world should be focused, and not the war should become the priorities right now for some territorial gain or something like that.
Okay. All right. Abhishek, thank you so much for bringing us those details. If I could request you to stay with us, we have more information coming in of an international nature. Over the last few days, we've been bringing you reports of violence taking place and protests taking place between two communities, Hindu and Muslim communities in the UK. We are now receiving news of another such incident.